According to the National Electrical Code, support hardware used for electrical installations must be listed. Support hardware is not classified as associated fittings. Associated fittings are devices used to connect luminaires or other equipment to the electrical system, such as junction boxes, fittings, and boxes. According to National Electrical Code 110.3, b. All materials, devices, and equipment used in electrical installations must be listed or labeled by a nationally recognized testing laboratory. This includes support hardware such as 1-holes, 2-holes, J-nails, hangers, minis, cowboys, and strut-straps. Inspectors may vary in their enforcement of this requirement, but it is generally accepted that support hardware must be listed for the intended use. If support hardware is not listed, inspectors may require it to be replaced, or may fail the installation. In conclusion, support hardware for electrical installations must be listed according to the National Electrical Code. It is not classified as associated fittings, and inspectors may require it to be listed to ensure compliance. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a set of standards created to provide guidelines for electrical safety. Listing is a requirement because it provides a level of assurance that the hardware has been tested and meets certain safety standards. These standards are in place to minimize electrical hazards such as fires and electrical shock. Listing ensures that the hardware has been evaluated for its suitability in electrical installations and has been tested to meet performance standards. Listed hardware often undergoes rigorous testing by nationally recognized testing laboratories, or NRTLs. These laboratories ensure that the hardware meets the required safety and performance standards. The listing requirement for support hardware helps ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations. It gives installers and inspectors confidence that the hardware being used meets established standards. Furthermore, using listed hardware can help reduce the risk of electrical failures and safety hazards, which can protect people and property. It's important for electrical contractors and installers to be aware of the listing requirements for support hardware. Using listed hardware can help ensure compliance with the National Electrical Code and avoid potential issues during inspections. It also contributes to the overall safety and reliability of electrical installations. Nationally recognized testing laboratories play a vital role in the listing process. These laboratories conduct rigorous testing to ensure that hardware meets established safety and performance standards. They also provide ongoing certification and inspection services to ensure that listed hardware continues to meet these standards over time. By using listed hardware that has been certified by an NRTL, electrical contractors and installers can be confident that they are using products that have been thoroughly evaluated and meet the necessary safety requirements. This can help reduce the risk of electrical hazards and ensure the long-term reliability of electrical installations. Inspectors play a key role in enforcing the listing requirements for support hardware. During inspections, they verify that the hardware being used is listed by an NRTL and that it is being used in accordance with the listing instructions. If inspectors find that support hardware is not listed or is not being used properly, they may require it to be replaced or may fail the installation. The enforcement of listing requirements helps ensure that electrical installations meet the necessary safety standards and that people and property are protected from electrical hazards. It also promotes the use of high-quality, reliable hardware that has been tested and certified by a recognized testing laboratory. Support hardware can be used to support electrical equipment in raceways, and the listing of this hardware is essential to ensure it can safely perform its intended function. Raceways are enclosed channels that form a physical pathway for electrical wiring. They protect wires and cables from damage and provide a safe way to distribute electricity throughout a building. Raceways are commonly used in commercial, industrial, and residential buildings. Some common types of raceways include electrical metallic tubing, rigid metal conduit, and flexible metal conduit. Support hardware is used to secure these raceways to walls, ceilings, and other structures. The hardware must be able to withstand the weight of the raceways and the forces of vibration and movement. Without proper support, raceways can sag, become damaged, or even collapse. This can create a safety hazard and disrupt electrical service. Listed support hardware has been tested to ensure that it can withstand the expected loads and environmental conditions. The listing process involves rigorous testing to evaluate the strength, durability, and corrosion resistance of the hardware. It also includes inspections of the manufacturing process to ensure that the hardware is produced to consistent quality standards. Electrical equipment is the hardware, devices, and appliances used in electrical systems. This equipment can include lighting fixtures, receptacles, switches, motors, and transformers. Support hardware is used to secure electrical equipment to walls, ceilings, and other structures. The hardware must be able to withstand the weight of the equipment and the forces of vibration and movement. Without proper support, electrical equipment can become damaged, create a safety hazard, or disrupt electrical service. Listed support hardware has been tested to ensure that it can withstand the expected loads and environmental conditions. The listing process involves rigorous testing to evaluate the strength, durability, and corrosion resistance of the hardware. It also includes inspections of the manufacturing process to ensure that the hardware is produced to consistent quality standards. Using listed support hardware for raceways and electrical equipment is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical installations. It provides assurance that the hardware can withstand the expected loads and environmental conditions, and it helps prevent electrical hazards and service disruptions. The National Electrical Code requires that all materials, devices, and equipment used in electrical installations be listed or labeled by a nationally recognized testing laboratory. This requirement applies to support hardware for raceways and electrical equipment. By following the listing requirements, electrical contractors and installers can help ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations. Some common types of support hardware include one-hole straps, two-hole straps, J-nails, hangers, minis, cowboys, and strut-straps. One-hole straps are metal straps with a single hole for mounting. They are commonly used to support individual wires or cables. Two-hole straps are metal straps with two holes for mounting. They are commonly used to support conduit or other raceways. J-nails are nail-like fasteners with a curved head. They are commonly used to support wires or cables to wooden surfaces. Hangers are metal brackets that are used to support conduit or other raceways from ceilings or walls. Minis are small metal clips that are used to support individual wires or cables. Cowboys are metal brackets that are used to support conduit or other raceways from walls or ceilings. Strut-straps are metal straps that are used to secure conduit or other raceways to strut channels. Strut channels are metal framing systems that are used to support a variety of electrical and mechanical equipment. It is important to choose the appropriate type of support hardware for the specific application. The hardware must be able to withstand the expected loads and environmental conditions. It is also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation. Inspectors will check to see that the correct support hardware is used for the application. They will also ensure that the hardware is properly installed. When selecting support hardware, it is important to consider the following factors. Firstly, the type of raceway or equipment being supported. Secondly, the weight of the raceway or equipment. Thirdly, the environmental conditions, such as temperature and humidity. And fourthly, the mounting surface. The support hardware must be compatible with the type of raceway or equipment being supported. For example, one-hole straps are typically used for individual wires or cables, while two-hole straps are used for conduit or other raceways. The support hardware must be able to withstand the weight of the raceway or equipment. The weight of the raceway or equipment will determine the size and type of support hardware that is needed. The support hardware must be able to withstand the environmental conditions. For example, if the support hardware is exposed to moisture, it should be made of a corrosion-resistant material. The support hardware must be compatible with the mounting surface. For example, if the mounting surface is concrete, the support hardware should be designed for use with concrete anchors. In addition to these factors, it is also important to consider the listing requirements for support hardware. The National Electrical Code requires that all materials, devices, and equipment used in electrical installations be listed or labeled by a nationally recognized testing laboratory. This requirement applies to support hardware for raceways and electrical equipment. By considering these factors and following the listing requirements, electrical contractors and installers can help ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations. Listing is often indicated by a mark from a nationally recognized testing laboratory or NRTL. These marks provide verification that the product has been tested and meets the standards established by the NRTL. The presence of a listing mark on support hardware can give installers and inspectors confidence that the hardware is safe and suitable for use in electrical installations. Some examples of NRTLs include Underwriters Laboratories or UL, Intertek or ETL, and CSA Group. These laboratories evaluate products for safety and performance, and they provide certification marks that indicate compliance with applicable standards. The listing process typically involves rigorous testing and evaluation of the product. The NRTL will assess the design, construction, and performance of the product to ensure that it meets the requirements of the relevant standards. If the product meets the requirements, the NRTL will issue a listing mark that can be placed on the product. Electrical inspectors often rely on listing marks to verify that support hardware meets the requirements of the National Electrical Code. The listing mark provides a visual indication that the product has been tested and certified by a recognized testing laboratory. Inspectors may also require documentation, such as test reports or certificates of compliance, to verify that the support hardware is properly listed. It is important to note that not all support hardware is listed, and it is the responsibility of the installer to ensure that the hardware being used is properly listed. Using unlisted support hardware can create a safety hazard and may result in the installation being rejected by the inspector. By using listed support hardware, electrical contractors and installers can help ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations. The listing mark provides assurance that the hardware has been tested and meets the necessary safety standards. Inspectors are responsible for enforcing electrical codes and regulations to ensure the safety of electrical installations. This includes verifying that support hardware is listed by a nationally recognized testing laboratory and that it is being used in accordance with the listing instructions. When inspecting electrical installations, inspectors will typically check to see that the support hardware is properly installed, that it is the correct type for the application, and that it is listed by an NRTL. They may also check to see that the hardware is being used in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. If inspectors find that support hardware is not listed or is not being used properly, they may require it to be replaced or may fail the installation. They may also issue a notice of violation, which can result in fines or other penalties. The enforcement of listing requirements helps ensure that electrical installations meet the necessary safety standards and that people and property are protected from electrical hazards. It also promotes the use of high-quality, reliable hardware that has been tested and certified by a recognized testing laboratory. Inspectors play a vital role in ensuring the safety of electrical installations, and their enforcement of listing requirements is an important part of this process. It is important for electrical contractors and installers to cooperate with inspectors and to ensure that they are using listed support hardware and following the manufacturer's instructions. This can help avoid potential issues during inspections and ensure that electrical installations meet the necessary safety standards. In summary, the National Electrical Code requires that all materials, devices, and equipment used in electrical installations be listed or labeled by a nationally recognized testing laboratory. This requirement applies to support hardware for raceways and electrical equipment. Listing is a process by which an NRTL evaluates a product to determine whether it meets the requirements of applicable safety standards. If a product meets the requirements, the NRTL will issue a listing mark that can be placed on the product. Inspectors rely on listing marks to verify that support hardware meets the requirements of the National Electrical Code. The enforcement of listing requirements helps ensure that electrical installations meet the necessary safety standards and that people and property are protected from electrical hazards. In addition to the listing requirements, it is also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation. The manufacturer's instructions will provide guidance on how to properly install the support hardware and how to ensure that it is able to withstand the expected loads and environmental conditions. By following the listing requirements and the manufacturer's instructions, electrical contractors and installers can help ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations. Associated fittings are components used to connect luminaires or other equipment to the electrical system. They are classified separately from support hardware. These fittings include junction boxes, which are enclosures used to protect electrical connections and provide a safe location for making splices. Fittings also include connectors, which are used to join wires or cables together. Boxes are enclosures used to house electrical devices, such as receptacles and switches. While associated fittings are essential for making electrical connections, they are not used to support raceways or electrical equipment. This is the role of support hardware, which includes items such as one-hole straps, two-hole straps, J-nails, hangers, minis, cowboys, and strut-straps. Inspectors may have varying interpretations of the National Electrical Code. This can lead to inconsistent enforcement of the listing requirements for support hardware. Some inspectors may strictly enforce the listing requirements, while others may be more lenient. It is important for electrical contractors and installers to be aware of the potential for varying interpretations and to be prepared to provide documentation to support the use of listed support hardware. If an inspector questions the listing status of support hardware, the installer should be prepared to provide documentation such as the NRTL listing mark, test reports, or certificates of compliance. It is also important to be familiar with the local electrical codes and regulations, as these may have additional requirements for support hardware. In some cases, it may be necessary to obtain clarification from the local electrical inspector or building department regarding the listing requirements for support hardware. By being proactive and prepared, electrical contractors and installers can help ensure that their installations comply with the applicable electrical codes and regulations.